If you can make sure of these three things, you will make sales every single time. Stay tuned. Hey there, I'm Jillian Kendrick, and welcome to the Momentum Marketing Podcast. I'm a mama, a wife, an entrepreneur, and a 3-time best-selling co-author. In each episode, you'll get real-world practical advice and strategies, and maybe a parenting tip or two along the way. If you're ready to create a business that supports your family and your lifestyle, then you're in the right place. Hey there, thanks for joining me today. I'm so excited to talk to you about the 3 things you need to be sure of so that you can make sales every single time. And I promise you, this works. But before we get into that, if you are interested in getting more leads every single month, I want you to head over to jilliankendrick.com/webinar and sign up for my brand new, gorgeous, amazing training. And I'll teach you the exact strategy, tactics, and formula that I use to get over 600 new leads in my business every single month. Now, on to sales, on to the important stuff, right? Why are we all in business? Yes, we're in business to serve. Yes, we're in business because we have a passion for what we do. Yes, we're in business because we have a talent or we're really good at a certain thing. But that's not all we do. That's not everything. And in order to stay in business, you need to make money, period. Done. End of story. If you're not generating revenue, if you're not growing a little bit each year, you're dead in the water. And money isn't bad. Money is the sacred exchange of energy. Money is the sacred exchange of trust. I give you money, you give me that benefit. I work hard to earn money so that I can pay for other things that benefit me and my family. That's all. But we all know that if you're not making money, you're not generating revenue, you don't have a business. It's that simple, right? So here are 3 things that you need to be absolutely sure of when it comes to making sales. And I promise you that this works whether you are selling through a lead magnet, you're selling through ads, you're making sales calls, you're selling through order forms, whether you have a brick and mortar, whether you meet face-to-face, whether it's all digital, no matter what your business, if you sell something, these 3 things have to be absolutely true. Number 1, the person that you're selling to or the person that is going to buy from you, then you're going to create that sacred exchange. The person has to believe in you. So they have to believe in you, the business owner, or you, the salesperson, or you, the representative. They have to believe in you. They have to know you, like you, trust you in some sort of way. And we'll talk about that. We'll get into that in a second. Number 2, they have to believe in the offer, the product, the program, the thing, whatever it is. They have to want that thing and they have to believe that it's going to improve their life, improve their health, wealth, and relationships in some way or another. And number 3, they have to believe in themselves. And I tell you truly from experience, this is one of the hardest ones to overcome, but I have a couple of strategies that we'll talk about in just a second that will help you do exactly that so that you can get sales every single time. So number 1, they have to believe in you. How do they believe in you? And whether you're the business owner, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're a representative, whether you're just working at a place, no matter what you're selling or doing, they have to believe in the person that they're buying from. They have to believe in you or your company or your organization as a whole. I go to the grocery store, and of course I go to a grocery store that I like and that I trust and that I've gotten good products from. But if I pull a 2-liter of Coca-Cola off the shelf, I'm buying that Coca-Cola because I know and I trust that it's going to be the same flavor, the same texture, the same experience, the same fizzy fun that it was the last time I drank Coke. And I know that I can trust them as a company and their consistency. So I buy Coke, or if I buy the store brand or something else like that. But they have to trust and believe in you as a person, as a sales rep, or as an organization as a whole. For most small business owners, it's going to be you or a salesperson, or it's going to be your family. Or if you are a sales rep or customer service person, they have to believe in the organization. They have to trust that what you say is real and that what you're going to deliver is truthful and honest, like the Coca-Cola example. So how do you do that if you've never talked to somebody, they have never talked to you, you don't know who they are? Well, referrals are a great way to do this. I trust the person that told me to go buy this product, so therefore I trust the product. Or rather, their trust in the product or their trust in that business or their trust in that person makes me, the consumer, feel a borrowed sense of trust. When you get referrals, those people have a borrowed sense of trust of you from the person that they're being referred by. So referrals And getting your leads through referrals are a great way to build trust, but also knowing your stuff. Being able to say the right things, speak the right language, use the correct messaging that resonates them and makes them feel heard, understood, seen, valued. When you can do that, they will put their trust in you. When you can prove that you know your stuff, when you can show numbers to prove that you've made X number of sales, or you've done what you say you do, or you've accomplished the thing that you're going to teach them, that is a way to build trust. Number 2, they need to believe in the offer. So whether it's a product, a program, an offer, a coaching, a cupcake through a bakery, you're buying a car, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They need to believe in the product. They need to believe in the offer. And that can come down to a couple of things. One, and the most typical one, is usually price. If they see that the value that they're getting for the money that they'll be spending, again, that's sacred exchange, then they'll believe in the offer. If they believe that the money that they're paying is worth so much less than the tremendous amount of value that you're going to be giving them, then they'll believe in the offer. But if something costs more than whatever it is that they intuitively, instinctively, unspokenly believe that it should, then they're not going to believe in the offer because the exchange is tipped in the wrong direction. When the exchange of money is tipped in someone's favor, they will usually buy, and often buy, things that they don't need. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to Target or the dollar store or Macy's or even anywhere else, and something's on sale and I buy it because I don't need it, but because the value of that thing to me is greater than the money that I would be spending and the amount of energy or work that it would take me to recoup that money. But then the second part of your offer, whatever it is it has to be quality, whether it's consulting, a product, a program, a coaching program, building a website, whether they're paying for services from you, it doesn't matter. They have to need that thing, or better yet, they have to want that thing. And the want and desire to have that thing or that result in their life needs to be so much greater than the amount of energy and time it would take them to recoup that money. For example, and I love to tell my plumbing story. I use this all the time. I should probably find a different story, but it's a really, really good one. So it was a Saturday night, probably about 2 years ago. My husband and I are hanging out, and all of a sudden our bathroom toilet just out of nowhere just completely floods. And he and I are very handy people. I like to think of myself as a pretty handy person. We have a lot of tools. We've done lots of projects around the house, and not just like IKEA, right? But like real legit, we've done big projects in the house. So I consider myself a pretty handy person, but plumbing is something that I'm definitely not familiar with, nor do I have all of the plumbing tools under the sun to take care of different situations, this one in particular. And being that it was late on a Saturday night, it was more important to us that our house didn't flood, that we got our bathroom back in order, and that someone who knew what they were doing and were professional could come and take care of it for us, who could do it way faster than we could. I'm sure I could go to the hardware store and I could grab every single tool and every single kit and all of the products and the putties and all the things, and I could probably figure it out. But that would take a lot of my energy, a lot of my time, a lot of my money, and I would probably just end up frustrated at the end anyway. So what did we do? Naturally, we went on Google and looked up plumbers in our area. And the very first one that answered the phone and said, yes, I'll be there in 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, that was the person that we paid. It didn't matter what credentials they had. It didn't matter how much experience they had. It didn't matter how long they had been in business. It didn't matter how much they knew. It didn't matter how nice they were. All I cared about at that moment was that someone is going to come to my house on a Saturday night and fix my problem. I do not care how much money it costs. And so that exchange for me was well worth the amount of money that I paid and the peace of mind knowing that it was taken care of by somebody who knows what they're doing and that I didn't have to do it and that I didn't have to try and figure it out all on my own. So when you can make an offer that fully represents that exchange, the exchange of I as the purchaser I, as the buyer, I, as the customer, consumer, am going to get XYZ benefit that is so much better and so much greater and so much more important to me than whatever amount of money I'm giving up. When you can understand what that looks like, you will have offers and be able to deliver products every single time consistently and make sales. Another way that people have to trust an offer or a product is consistency. If I went to a bakery one day and had a great experience and loved it and it was delicious, I would definitely go back. But if I went back the next time and tried the exact same thing, but it wasn't as good, or maybe it was way worse, do you think I'm going to go back to that bakery? Probably not. In fact, the bakery example is a really, really good example because restaurants' average retention or customer return rate is staggering. They have to get a customer coming back to them at least 3 or 4 times in order to have a customer that's going to come back. If you go to a restaurant for the very first time, the likelihood that you're going to come back to that same restaurant is like 20 to 30% from your first visit. If you have a second visit, the likelihood that you're going to come back to that same restaurant jumps up to like 70%. If they can get you to come to that restaurant 3 or more times, the likelihood that you're going to go back, even if you have a bad experience, jumps up. It's 80, 90 something percent. That is how restaurants actually make a profit. It's not getting people in the door once, it's getting them to come in 2, 3, 4 or more times. So to do that though, you have to be trustworthy. You have to have a good product. You have to have consistency. You don't necessarily have to be Coca-Cola. I'm not going to say that, but you can take the essence of the trust that's built with that brand, the visual representation of seeing it, knowing that it's going to be the same product, the same consistency, the same taste, flavor, fizz, everything. You can take the essence of what that is and what it stands for and apply that to your own business. So they have to trust you. They have to trust the offer. Number 3, they have to trust themselves. And like I said earlier, this is the most difficult thing to do. All human beings, all adults, we can all relate to some story about having an experience where somebody screwed us over. We just can. It's a fact of life. It's a sad fact of life, but it is. We can relate to experiences of people screwing us over. We can relate to experiences of having a negative or bad experience. So understand that when someone comes to your restaurant, when someone has a sales call with you, when someone looks at your website, when someone watches your webinar or considers your product or sees your ad or walks into your storefront, they're not walking in with a blank slate. They're walking in carrying all of that experience, all of that emotional baggage, all of those negative feelings that they've had about dealing with other people, coaches that have promised them the world, taken their money and screwed them over, service providers that have guaranteed things and then not delivered, products that they've bought that didn't live up to the hype, promises that people have made to them that never actually came true. And this is just human psychology. This is true for everything and every situation in life. We bring all of our own baggage to every situation, and the reactions that people have oftentimes come from that baggage, not necessarily from the situation in front of them. But when you understand that, when you can accept the fact that this person is listening with ears that are kind of gunked up, they're taking in information, judging you, not just based on who you are or what your product is or what your offer is. They're looking at you with a tinted lens. They're looking at you going, okay, is this person going to be the next one? Are they also going to screw me over? And it's hard, man. It's hard to swallow. It's hard to accept. It's hard to deal with, but sales is just human nature. Sales is just understanding how humans work. And this is the core of it. So they have to believe in themselves that this thing is going to work for them. And it's especially hard for transformational sales, weight loss, business stuff, things related to money, making investments, anything where there's some kind of risk. You walk into a cupcake shop and you buy a cupcake, not a whole lot of risk there. But when it comes to transformational sales, they absolutely have to believe in themselves that it's going to work or they're not going to buy. And oftentimes, because of all of that baggage, that's why they don't believe in themselves. It's not because they can't do it. You know they can do it. It's not because you don't have a great product. You have an amazing product. It's because they don't trust themselves. themselves. They don't believe in themselves. It's because they bought the treadmill and then the treadmill stood there for 2 years collecting dust. I'm pointing at myself right now. It's because they bought the coaching program and then never opened it, never started it, never got that transformation that they wanted. So why should they buy another coaching program when it's just going to be the same story over again? And unless they trust themselves, there's not really a whole lot that you can do to convince them that they should trust themselves, except what I refer to as borrowed testimonial. A borrowed testimonial is when they can lean on your belief in them in order to believe in themselves. So in other words, saying stuff like, I know you can do it. I know this will work and I'll be behind you the entire time. I believe in you is a really strong statement. I know you can do it. Getting them to future pace or envision a world where they have the transformation that they desire, envisioning that world, thinking about what their families will think of them, what their spouses will say, what their friends will say when they have lost all the weight or when they've had the great business or when they've made the money or when they've done the thing. That is a really, really powerful visualization for people. And it's a great way for you as the salesperson, business owner, sales rep, to impart a little nugget of belief in them that they didn't know that they had. Because once somebody can visualize something, then they know it's true. But if you can't see it, if you can't see the forest from the trees, if you can't see a way out, if you can't see a situation where what you're going through gets better, if you can't see the next day, then they don't believe. So using borrowed testimony, telling them that you believe in them, that you know that they've got it. You know that you have trust in your product. You have trust in you because you've done it before. You have trust in you because your product is awesome. Other people have trust in you because they've gone through your program or they've tested your product or they've bought your car or they've had the weight loss transformation, whatever it is. Getting those kind of testimonials is other people saying, we believe in you. We believe in what you're selling, what you're doing, and it's worked for us. So if it's worked for somebody else, then that person can visualize, okay, maybe this can work for me if it's worked for somebody else. So borrowed testimony and utilizing testimonials from other people are really an incredible way for someone who is on the fence and has that emotional baggage and isn't quite sure to kind of get them over that hump, because they have to believe that it's possible for them. They have to believe that that transformation is real and that it can happen. And the reason that they don't believe it is because they've probably tried before, or somebody, some jerk along the way told them that it wasn't possible, and now they've internalized that and they live their life that way. So if you believe in them and you can prove through testimonies that other people believe in you and other people have done the thing that they want to do, when you have all three of those components, they believe in you, they believe in the offer, and they believe in themselves, you will make sales every single time, period. An action item from this episode, I want you to go through the products, the services, the sales, the offers, the things that you sell, and think about whether or not you are implementing these three things, these three action items, the three beliefs in everything that you sell. Also, this is where your objection handling comes from. Every single objection that a person's going to have, whether it's on a sales call, whether it's after considering your product or seeing your ad, whenever they have objections, it's going to be related to one of these three things. So anytime I get on a sales call for our marketing agency, I usually end up having about the same conversations. And the conversation will go something like this related to these three beliefs. So one, they want to know who I am. They want to know that I know my stuff, that I'm saying the right things, that I know what I'm talking about. Have you done something similar before? What does your team do? How long has your team been with you? They want to know things like this so that they can trust me. Related to the offer, they want to know what our rate is, what our project rate is, what our hourly rate is, what our retainer rate is. They want to know how much it's going to cost them to exchange the thing that they want with the money that they have. And is it worth it? Then they'll put up, I don't often get this objection, but occasionally I'll get the objection of like, well, do you reduce your hourly rate if we buy more hours, if we buy a higher retainer package or something? And the answer is no, we don't. I'm not going to discount my value and my team's value just because you need more from us. Nope, not going to happen. So that's where those objections come from. And then within themselves, usually it's other weird objections that kind of come up, and it's, well, I need to talk to my business partner, or we need to see a proposal first. No, they don't. They don't need to see a proposal. And that's really where the not believing in themselves comes from. And that's where you can begin to talk about how you believe in them. So what we do for our agency oftentimes is I'll say, okay, if you put this much down towards your retainer and we do, this little part of this first project for you and you don't like it, you can have your money back. Or we'll terminate the contract, or we'll do something like this, or whatever it is. I don't often do that really ever, but it could be an option. It could help push somebody over the fence. So before you make offers and get on sales calls, think about these 3 beliefs and consider the objections and the pushback that you're going to get related to these beliefs, and have responses prepared for each of them. Have an idea of what you would say if somebody pushes back and says, hey, I'm not sure about this hourly rate. Well, I'm so sorry, but that's what we charge, and here's why. And you don't even have to tell them why, really. You could go into the thing about industry standards. You can go into the thing about, oh, we've been doing this for X number of years. But at the end of the day, like, your rate is your rate. And if they don't see value in it, then you don't need to do business with them, period. But know that they have to believe in you, they have to believe in the offer, and they have to believe in themselves in order to buy. And if one of those things aren't true, if the sacred exchange of money versus value, or money versus benefit, money versus transformation is skewed not in their favor, they won't buy, period. They just won't. They won't get it. They won't understand. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Momentum Marketing Podcast. If listening to this has brought you value, improved your life, or given you insight to help you build momentum in your business, then please share it with a friend, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.